paradox, more than one-dimensional woman, of femininity and embrace of duality, being a warrior and powerful leader, a sister, a brother of life and faith, fertile land to the people, a threat to the system that sought to confine women to the domestic sphere. This particular message is coded with hidden facts and secret meanings, beginning and endings. I didn't just come out and say it, you had to read between the lines, it wasn't for everyone. This was written in an intelligent manuscript of divine messages. I love being a poet. I feel appreciated to be aligned with my truth, to speak and feel my truth, which is love. I'm here to spread a message that love is the truth, and there's only one truth. To respect other people's religious and spiritual beliefs. Remembering I lived on the beach deserted with only a blanket, the ocean makes different sounds in the middle of the night. I will never be the same after that. I am technically vegan, except for Fridays. I have fish and kebabs, halal kebabs. When I lived at the beach, the term homeless is often misunderstood. You wasn't homeless. That doesn't really make any sense. You had something, you slept somewhere, you wasn't without a house or a job or some fancy apartment. That's just what they wanted you to think. Being homeless didn't mean you was a beggar, and being a beggar didn't mean you was homeless. When I lived at the beach, I didn't ask for anyone for a change. I wasn't homeless, and I tried a kebab, halal kebab on the beach, and it blew my mind. To eat my kebab surrounded by the ocean, it was a luxury paradise. Paradigm, not the kebab. A frequency, the luxury to do anything I want at all time dimensions. And realities, I know I am. I am the woman. Do you know how many homeless people are living outside in the park? Because the authorities don't help but act as a barrier between you and your freedom. This is to all the homeless people and those wandering, made to feel you don't belong when it's them who don't belong. When this is your land. We once normalised corruption in the system and make movies and TV shows to entertain everyone. What you do not have shall be taken away. If you are not happy in this life, why would Allah reward you in the next one? Not only being grateful for all things, but being in a state of remembrance of Allah. Allah is love. When you feel His presence, the warm hug, joy of love, then you too shall feel it. So the state of unhappiness fades away. Live in a good Muslim way with love in your heart, not fear. You do not fear Allah. Yes, is the powerful and almighty, and Allah loves you. The opposite of fear is love. Whoever tells you to fear God is a fake God. They are lying to you. Paradigm, thought forms. No phone connection at the beach is better. Who needs YouTube when we've got the people? Leading with faith builds humanity. Remembering. Realizing that her presence was something always inside me. That they, the corrupt old forces and the old stories and testimonies of that kept hidden from the people and told you that was evil, and not what they was doing to you was evil. The illusion cast over the world until the girl was lifted the veil, to see there was nothing but lies, emptiness and darkness without the woman, without the man. It was over, it was already over for them. More things I could share hold such value to the world. sacred sex to other females, and my partner passes on the teachings to other males, making them queens and kings. Balance was key. Balance was harmony, and key was frequency. Harmonic frequency. Balanced energies. I learned to love again. I learned to breathe. And even if my imagination becomes reality, and it's so pleasurable that I can't resist, that's like giving away the key. And I am the key. It's like throwing away the key, and that's already been written. She wasn't going to throw herself away, locked in the abyss for all eternity, because she liked giving and diving deep, giving away the key to humanity's freedom or to greater purpose. And she wasn't going to step away from her sacred mission and give her life away. Death to herself. Suicide after she was just reborn. To the realm again, intertwined and connected to source, balanced temptations in sickness and in health. Without the love, the pleasure could not coexist, and they could not come together, coexist together, co-create, and the sex becomes meaningless. Without love and happiness, we cannot live in our expectations. She was always on the precipice of building her empire, of starting the thing. And there was a tower moment where it would all come crashing down. She had power in her voice, her abundant, making her abundant in all things. She had stability and a home when he became jealous and hateful. She was finally living in her peace and luxury as who she is, and he wanted to take it for themselves, manipulate energy, and it wasn't anything personal from these scammers until it became personal. When he fell in love with me, and only when she realised after all was lost that she took her power back. Brotherhoods, hatred to women because of power struggles, family businesses that targeted women and people. She's living happily again and found a partner to share with, to make a family and a life, and a community she was already at the precipice of. She was an airbender, friend of the wind. She sounded hymns, vibrations, chants, shifted realities, a duplex paradox. More than one-dimensional woman of femininity, fertile lands to the people. Rainbows around me, I feel, and I am wonderful, the embodiment. I have soft, subtle skin. Warm, glowing energy of love and protection. Of all the children, especially women, since I am the woman of protection. I am energy expressing. As much as it was late, I take these notes, I set myself free, with my own power and blessings that have divinity and righteousness. Nothing evil, as the opposites attach, and I can't resist him on the opposite scale of the spectrum. I can't resist because my embodiment of beauty and love and peace is something I hold on to my heart and will not give away to a man, one who's not stepped into his divinity, and will not appreciate the sacred union when two become one. A forbidden love so great, so strong, it holds such mystery. That's a Zuzu princess. Shakti electric current moves through chakras. I felt it. I am authority and I am money. I already am that I am. I am all the greatness that I need to be. They try to disrespect me, but I own the situation. In control of my outcome reality. Now they all attracted to me. The good, the light, the dark. As if I was their mother. Coming out with my story now. Because we lived in a world of storytellers, witches and warlocks who cast spells over humanity. You can do anything. Anything is possible. I know that to be true because I myself have done it. Through the other side, I alchemized pain into power or pleasure. It did not intoxicate me. It purified my soul. I had this balance I was learning to embrace as I began to live. Disguised as a refuge, I had to engage in people's trust, restoring faith in humanity. I survived the 40 nights without a scratch on my back, my skin completely shredded like a snake. It's my power restoring physically, energetically the old self dies concept. This made me see things differently and with different glasses I hold. Captivating, restoring and returning my original self through the tunnel and thus the dark. Coming from a background kidnapped by elites, I knew my days would never be the same. I went back to school, worked in a pharmacy, lived in a quiet life. Seduced by material world, distracted, not living in my purpose. I fled to another country for a new life. It was weeks before the outbreak. When I came to start a new adventure, since I was last here in 2012, saying head to head with people dictating human trafficking rings and government officials, under a new identity, I was always on lockdown. Funnily enough, the day I wanted to go outside a little bit was when the security guard told me you can't go outside because of the outbreak. And people can say what they want, they can have their opinions, is what you want to call it. It was exposing the government for what they were doing to people. I would step outside where I was staying and vans of armed officers informing me to go back inside. I slept through it. I did not get sick like the others. I meditated, I prayed. I got out into nature when I could, and the government officials had armed weapons on every corner. You needed a reason to go outside, as if you needed a reason, you had to get receipts for food. Meditation, yoga, and nature almost became criminal. They were stripping away human rights, your sovereignty and power. I laid low, I lost my identity, and I did not want to maintain to get a new passport. Without the authorities were being at the time of me starting a new journey within myself. And so I passed as someone who was on vacation, a vacation that lasted years. Until everything was stolen, corrupted and destroyed, forgotten, I knew a change was coming. I lost everything to regain everything. I could feel the change in my bones, but most of all, I could feel the storm of what was to come. It was in the air. I was learning to make peace with it, for without the storm there cannot be a change. I waited patiently. Even a time when my father had passed, a time prophesied all those years ago. My account, social media and ID number was erased from the system. The industry, the media, the government wanted to keep me silent. I lost my ID trying to engage assistance from the authorities, only to connect the dots in the corruption that spread on for miles within these corporations. I was let out with nowhere to go, guided to go to a secluded beach miles away. I interviewed Satanists, whistleblowers in order for me to enter the room, so to speak, and sit with the dogs. I was ordered to remove my spiritual garments. Finally away at the desert, beautiful beach with everything behind me, obliged to strip down till I stood completely naked in the wilderness. I felt great, then got this sudden sickness. I have amazing orgasms, alike without his energy and sometimes with it. I can feel when my energy is being pulled on and when the thoughts are not mine, and when they are wanting me to depress my energy and not express it, repressed, indulging in them and not in myself for their gain and achievement, and leave me distracted and expelled. I knew when it was a moment of truth, of pleasure among moments, and when my energy was being tampered with. I was sexually around my period beginning, and I let them know of my rogue fantasy. And their words of seduction, even though I was satisfied with my last indulgence in pleasure, I was struck by temptation to do it again and again. And when that happens, I know it's not healthy, it's not from a halo perspective, it's an addictive obsession of lust and small self-satisfaction and thus sabotage. I would not sabotage myself and my plans until I learn and restrain from doing that no more, since days and weeks can pass by, caught in the illusion of love, of lust. I seek big satisfactions and the meaning of the word and the actions in play. It's not a ritual for self-pleasure. I would have sex and create a world with my partner and create a family to live in that world. I loved sex. I also equally loved being creative and passionate in my writing, my dancing, my music, in nature, in my surroundings, and my purpose. There was an equality of all things beautiful in this life. Travelling and experiencing different things was one of them. Peace and quiet was the luxury, and luxury was a frequency, a mindset, almost a dimension that you went to. Comfortability, a rich life of abundance and freedom, liberation and love stories. Other cultures, they worship women too. In this world, why there was no woman rulers or role models. Couples should make each other known and feel like a princess and prince, equally given to each other, not one serving the other. And so they tell you the woman was made from man, as if things were not confusing enough, when a man in fact came from a woman and a womb, and that's how the universe was created. The Big Bang is an orgasm. Repeat that back. It's a love frequency. I really loved him and continued to do so unconditionally. It taught me to truly love myself and led me to my divinity. What hurts you, blesses you. I fell in love with the devil. Isn't it a perfect love story to have fell in love with your enemy? Behind every monster is a love story and a plot twist. Ultimately, everybody was seeking love because they were seeking themselves, unknown. I could feel the same monster energy from him as the man who raped me that had been siphoning my energy for years. This was spiritual war and a battle won. Sinners, now saints. To violent and abuse women as slaves, to not feel pleasure, to chop their genitals, because they are sacred of their power, because they have not integrated the feminine energy, because they are scared of their power, of a woman's power, because they've not integrated the feminine energy aspect within themselves. They tortured, raped, and kidnapped me for 30 years, for lifetimes. I remain to live in my light as I remember, and I remember my power. Their thoughts do not harm me, and no obligation to offend me and keep me from my grace and happiness. They are but wounded soldiers. They know not what they do, actions now docile, meaningless and nothingness, nothing without the woman and the female masculine energy, integrated in balance and harmony. I look like a student vibe scholar. I was the subject, I am the school. Enduana, O merciful one, abundance of the land. I teach and childlike wasn't something to be ashamed of, but something to embrace. This was causing an imbalance within themselves and the confusion about love and lust. If only they learned to love themselves, we could solve world problems in one day, and we are doing. This isn't a sad story, this is a love story. The last thing to go was my golden ring before entering the last gateway, before realising I was the portal. I was the missing piece in the puzzle, and how every one of us is a piece that fits together, unlocking the truth, the real picture. I escaped the elites and have to reveal the dark agenda in the education system and advertising. I only go by the name Anna